Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining our session today. If you want to go ahead and tell us where you're calling in from in the chat, put your location, your university, and we'll get started here about 2 after to gather more people, but we'd love to know where you guys are calling in from. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining. We'll get started here in about 3 minutes, but drop your university and where you're calling in from in the chat. I'd love to kind of understand where the audience is and then start entering your questions in the Q&A session or the section of the bar below, please. And we'll address those throughout and at the end of the session. Okay, we can go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to the Experian information session. Today we're going to spend about the next hour together. We're going to go through some basic information on Experian, share a little bit about our opportunities, and then we're going to toss it over to a couple of past interns with us to share their experience. So start putting your questions in the chat, or not in the chat, in the Q&A section of the box below. But with that, welcome. We're glad you're here. My name is Justin Margario, and I am our talent acquisition lead for our early careers program. And I have two of my colleagues, Madison and Caroline, that are recruiters on the team that will take us through the rest of the presentation. But again, thanks for joining us. We're excited to share our program with you. We are in top 100 program by way up, so we provide a great experience, and we're excited to share that with you. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Caroline to kick us off. But welcome, and start entering your questions in the Q&A section.
Thanks, Justin. So at Experian, we innovate. And so on this slide, there's so many aspects to us with data analytics and innovation at our core. Our portfolio consists of B2B and B2C businesses. So from a business-to-business standpoint, we're a credit services company with the richest consumer insights. For example, we have our Ascend platform, which is our industry's most robust analytical platform that provides our partners with information to make the right decision on consumers. From a decision and analytics front, we deliver custom insights through automated decision software, business intelligence, and advanced fraud protection software. And on the marketing services side, we have the largest databases of non-credit consumer data and rich digital footlight that enables advertisers and marketers to maximize their ability to connect with our consumers. Lastly, on our consumer service side, we offer lead gen, monitoring, and ID protection services. And we're driven to help consumers gain access to credit and help achieve their financial goals through memberships, marketplaces, and insurance. Next slide. And so we also empower consumers with data and analytics. And we do this through our credit management business, where we help facilitate real-time credit decisions and connect consumers to lenders so that they get the mortgage or car loan that they need. On the health side, where we help qualify patients for coverage and charitable benefits. Additionally, through our insurance business, we facilitate eligible claim checks while also providing a marketplace for consumers to save money and secure the best insurance for them. Most importantly, financial access. We provide consumers with free credit access and help them understand their financial history so that they can grow and improve their financial lives. Overall, our core focus is on empowering consumers to take control of their financial journeys. We leverage data and analytics to enable informed decision-making, to guide our consumers through pivotal life events, and to help them achieve their goals with confidence. And here you'll see a quick snapshot of Experian. We're a global business that covers 32 countries, and we have 22,000 employees. Because we're in so many sectors, we serve over 150,000 clients, and we just hit $6.6 billion in annual revenue. You can see here that most of our revenue, 66%, comes from North America, but we also have revenue from Latin America, UK and Ireland, and APAC. DEI is also really important here. We're proud to have 52% women in our global workforce, and this is huge in the tech space as we know that there's a disparity in women's representation within tech companies. We also have 9 employee resource groups that anyone can join as well. These ERGs are a great opportunity for you to volunteer, network, and get to know your peers. You'll also see here that we achieved various recognitions, such as being in the top 100 intern programs, being the best place to work, being one of the best led companies, just to name a few. And this is also the second year in a row where we achieved a place in the top 100 intern program. And so our internship program and its purpose. So our early careers internship program is a 12-week summer program that's designed to create and maintain a robust pipeline of entry-level talent across the bachelor's, master's, and PhD levels. So every summer we host 2 cohorts in May and June, and we provide experiential education opportunities for high potential students to really allow them to gain valuable hands-on experience. And so with that, I'll pass it over to Madison to further highlight our internship program.
Thank you so much, Caroline. So I'm excited to talk to you guys about just what all encompasses our internship program. We have 4 major pillars that really highlight the uniqueness and what makes our internship program special. First and foremost, we do have professional work. This is where the intern will spend most of their time in those prospective teams. It's very important to us that the intern feels like they have a seat at the table and are completely integrated with the team while they're here. During their time with us, they'll be meeting regularly with managers, team members, working on live projects and assignments that really do impact our company, and we very much value the work that our interns provide for us. Secondly, professional development. We want you to leave this internship not only with your experience that you had hands-on, but we also want to improve your professional development skills that will prepare you for whatever job or career path that you do take. We have regular development sessions that span across the entirety of the program. A few examples are we have like personal branding, where we have someone come in and talk about how to enhance yourself, how to speak to yourself, and especially when we're in this remote culture, it's great to know how to put yourself forward when you're over a computer. Another few that we have is navigating your career, building a network as well, which is very important. And I'll touch more on that later on how important building a network is in your career. We also love to celebrate our interns. We promote them to present to stakeholders within their business units a presentation that highlights their assignment, which is always a highlight for sure. We'd love to see the tangible work that you're doing. We also help with resume review, and evaluations are done at the end of the session to help see where you excelled, maybe some working points. Overall, building that foundation of professional development and enhancing your those skill sets is very important, and you'll get that when you're working with us. Third, we have business acumen. As I mentioned before, we want our students to feel like they are fully a part of the team here at Experian. We encourage our our interns to network, attend all of our meetings. We have executive lunch and learn sessions that are really exciting and special. So with these lunch and learn sessions, we are able to have very high level executives come shed light on their career, answer questions directly from the interns. We're very lucky. For the last 2 years, we had our North America CEO, Jennifer Schultz, come and answer questions. It's very, like Caroline said, we're over a 20,000 person organization. So being able to have access to such a powerful and strong employee, it's really, 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 really great. Next we have networking. We encourage our students to take advantage of their time here. We want you to join or encourage you to join ERGs while you're here. We want you to communicate with your team members, participate in channels and conversations. We do treat you like a full-time employee. You have the same resources that employees have here at Experian. So just really take advantage of communicating, making those connections, whether you have team members that you want to meet, putting calendar invites when you start your internship. It's just great. You never know what a connection can do for you in your future. Many people, find positions later in life with those networking connections that they have. And then lastly, we have pillar service to others. Giving back to our communities is a very strong value of our Experian organization. We offer students 2 VT volunteer time off days that we strongly encourage you to participate in. As a team and as an intern cohort, we put on a volunteer event where students are able to learn more about our corporate grant work and volunteer. We have 2 options usually of a virtual volunteer event, and I think it's a highlight of the program. It's always really fun and learning about all the great things that Experian does for our communities. And we can go on to the next, talking more about our opportunities that we do offer in terms of positions. We are a technical organization, so most of our opportunities and internships do fall in the technical and analytical space. That's not to say that we don't have a variety of different positions. We have some creative leading roles as well as positions in the corporate space. This is just a quick little snapshot of the positions that we'll be hiring for. And I'm not sure if we've mentioned, take a look at our Way Up Experian page. You'll see all of the internship opportunities there. Next, we'll talk about what we're looking for during the interview process, as well as the just resume review and the whole recruitment process. Your degree is a great way to get your foot in the door, but there are many other aspects that we look for during the interview process. Some things that stand out, someone who is very curious. Always bring questions to an interview. That is something that stands out, and it really shows that you care about the position and that you're thinking critically. Adaptability is important. Working with a team, we're a very team-centric and collaborative environment, so being able to collaborate and work in a team environment is very important. We want people who are sharp, who have innovative minds, that we can really see potential in growth at our organization. And then to the right, I can talk about maybe some more tips and tricks for the interview process. So it goes without saying that it's important to, I'm sorry, I did the presentation just go out?
Yeah, Caroline just got kicked out of her Zoom, just crashed. Let me try to pull it up again. Give me just a
Okay.
sec.
Yeah, so I was talking about just some advice for the interview process. I mentioned bringing questions to the interview process. We also value one of our big value propositions here is bringing your whole self to work, which we value the entire person who you are. So we want to see what makes you unique and what stands out in the crowd. Many of you, I'm sure, have very strong LinkedIn presences. It's important to continue to grow and leverage your network for those job searches. It's very important to just use those connections because you never know where it could lead you. And when you come to the interview, don't be afraid to share some innovative ideas, some creative thoughts that you might have. We want people who are forward thinkers and people who are excited to innovate some positive changes in our organization. Next, just quickly want to review our timeline. Typically, or this year, we start the process that begins in September, where we post the positions. Most of our positions are posted. There are going to be some more that'll be posted within the next week or so. And then we begin outreach, application review, and interviews throughout October and November. Our goal is to have these positions filled by December. Hopefully by December, but it could be very early next year at the latest. So just keep an eye on the Way Up platform where our positions are posted, and there will also be more posted within the next couple of weeks. So that's also something to keep in mind. Awesome. So next, we are very excited to have one of our participants had to drop out last minute. So we have two wonderful intern alumni. Jay, he's transitioned into a full-time role. Jessica, she extended her internship, but I'll let them speak more on themselves. So I'd love to introduce Jessica. Go ahead. Maybe you can introduce yourself and then talk about what team you've worked on and the project. And then Jay, you can go ahead and do the same.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Carney Perks. I am based in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm actually currently still in undergrad, so I go to the University of Louisville. Previously, when I started this internship earlier in May, I was a junior, so now that I've transitioned into becoming a senior, that's been something super exciting. Again, I was in that first cohort that began in May, and I was a part of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion team. Specifically, my project was figuring out how can we develop community. We were at a phase of trying to identify, okay, how do we not just attract talent and develop them, but how do we retain them? So we decided to craft a mentorship program, and it was focused around not only people of color, but specifically Black professionals. So we developed a program called Building Boldly Black. And this program introduces basically leadership across different business units, which you'll get to hear a little bit more about if you didn't already hear about it. But essentially connecting these people to middle management to be able to get those skills and develop those networks to make them stronger. It was actually a really fun project. I got to do a lot of the design work for not only the project and the program, but also to the presentations. We wanted to make sure every mentor that we paired with the mentee was equipped to not only handle the mental and emotional tasks that it takes to become a mentor, but also to how can you be present with your mentor, especially, or your mentee rather, when you are remote. So that was really exciting. That became its own project, being able to work across teams in marketing and in our comms area. So I was able to leverage a couple different skills there.
Yeah, this is Jay Foster. I'm originally from India. I'm currently living in Phoenix, Arizona over here. Went to my master's degree school in the U of A, the University of Arizona, where I majored in management information systems. And I was a past intern over here in the summer of 2023, where I was a product manager intern in the BIS department. It used to be BIS, now it's called FSD. So Business Information Services was the department, what it used to be called. It was a B2B business, so a lot of um, insurance clients or a lot of small organizations or small businesses were our partners, where I worked with my team, the product team, where we were working on this Ascent commercial suite. I think it was mentioned earlier in this presentation, where we had a lot of our product suites as data visualization tools. So we worked on Tableau, Power BI tools for our clients. And my project for the whole 12-week internship was to carry out this voice of client campaign, which was nothing but a customer interview campaign, which I had to lead, where I was working with my sales team and I was also working with the products team, where we would, based on the use cases of our product, we would shortlist a list of our clients and we would conduct those customer interviews to get their first-hand feedback on the MVP that we were going to launch in a couple of months. So that was one of my project which spanned across the 12 weeks of my internship. And then I did a couple of other projects with my marketing team based on branding of our products and how do we want to position those into the market once the MVP is going to be launched in a couple of months. So that was my experience, last summer, and then I rejoined Experian as a full-time employee now in the Product Management Accelerator Rotation Program, which is a rotation between two teams for 6 months each. So I'm currently in my first rotation where I joined in April of this year. Um, and I'm in the EPS team, which is the Experian Partner Solutions, where again, it's a B2B business, but a lot of different products that I get to work on. And the overall experience in the internship really helped me to carry forward those skills in the full-time role as well. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Couple more questions that I have for you guys, and then we can open it up to questions from our participants. I'd love to know what made you choose Experian for your internship.
Yeah, I can take that up. So, based on some of the connections that I made, over LinkedIn or over the alumni, connections that I had back in my college, I used to hear a lot about the culture of Experian, where you are given all the liberty and you are given all the ownership of the projects, and which turned out to be my experience throughout the summer that I was here. And also at the same time, there's a lot of value put on innovation. You're not an intern; you are treated as a full-time employee, where you are given all the liberty to innovate on products, innovate on the projects that you're working in. Um, and you see the profound impact that it has on people's lives, the users who are using our products. So that was one of or few of the reasons I chose Experian.
For myself, I knew that I didn't come from a technical background. I studied communication here at the University of Louisville, but previously I had studied public relations. I transferred a couple of times. I went to Boston University for a year. Then the following year, I went to North Carolina A&T. Loved both of those spaces, but I wanted to get something a little bit more from my education, so I ended up coming home to the University of Louisville. In that experience at North Carolina A&T, I was introduced to Experian for some of their external partnerships. So a program I participated in was called the Credit Academy, the Credit Academy, and it was launched across a couple different HBCUs to be able to participate in a hackathon experience. And through that, I was able to meet and network with people, leveraging not only my LinkedIn and my resume, but being able to have casual conversations with people was something that really helped when looking at Experian as a place to work, and thinking about like getting to the point of the offer and whether or not to commit to Experian or not, I was thinking about just not only the people that I was meeting, but thinking about the feedback that they had when talking about this organization. The common thread seems to be community, very people oriented, and caring about the person first. That was something that was really huge for me because sometimes when you think of internships and young professionals, sometimes we're not always given the space to show up as our authentic selves because we've got to, climb the ladder, we've got to build the experience. But at the end of the day, at the root, it is you as a person, and that's something I enjoyed not only talking to my interview panel about, but also to being able to see that through and through the work as well. Not just being able to, yes, I can leverage my degree in communication by being able to create these visual presentations and collaborate and thinking about strategies for cohesive communication, but also too, like how am I able to lean on this network in other ways that are very human and outside of just work. At the end of the day, the people you see on these calls, they've got some interesting lives. You'll meet people that, you know, they participated in their 10th marathon, or you've got other people that have kids that do musicals and they're preparing to go on tour. Like it's a couple different things, and everybody has their own story, and that's what I love about Experian. But had I not had that experience with people that I had met from the organization, and just also too looking at what was available on LinkedIn, I wouldn't have known that. So I'm just appreciative to be able to interact with people that care about people first. So that's kind of why I chose Experian.
Thank you so much. I'm seeing a few questions about like company culture and being remote. How would you say like the company culture is here at Experian and feeling still connected to your fellow interns while being fully remote? How would you say that experience was?
I can feel this one since I was like just in the most recent cohort. But I will say the early careers team made sure that we were actually paired with other interns throughout our internship process. So being able to connect with somebody that lives in California, lives in Kentucky, or someone else that lives in Boston, wherever it is, across different teams, whether that be technical work and someone else that works in human resources, the team is regarding like early careers, they really push for that. And we had a couple of different opportunities as well with not only just the professional development, but some of the fun like events that they have throughout the week as a way to connect with people, and you learn like what people's hobbies are, get to see people's familiar faces. So while it is remote and it's something to adjust to, the efforts are definitely there, like to be able to pair us together and lean on each other as we're transitioning into something a little bit different than your usual internship.
Yeah, I would agree to Jessica, and I would like to add that there were a lot of collaborative and inclusive events as well that we were a part of, although virtually. But we had a lot of sessions with our senior leaders as well, where it's a rare opportunity for you to sort of chat directly with the CXOs of these companies. But we had, I remember, a lot of sessions with our CXOs. One of them, which was with I think the CEO of Experian North America, and just getting to know firsthand from their experience being in this company since decades, and having to share our experience through as interns was really valuable as well.
Thank you. I'm seeing a couple questions regarding just advice for a prospective intern. Do you have some advice for someone coming in as a new intern at Experian, and maybe just things that you should think of and go forward?
Sure. Yeah. I think one of the key advices that I would definitely give anyone would be not be afraid to ask any questions, because that's what I've learned throughout my experience as well. That um, you might feel that you're asking really basic questions, but that's the opportunity that you have to learn um, any new product or any new team as well. So number one would definitely be curious and not afraid to ask any questions. Number two, I would say building relationships with your colleagues and networking across not just the team but across your departments, across different teams, is something which has come in handy for me in the long run. You never know where an opportunity would knock you, and just building a wide network would be really helpful for you in the future as well. um, and I would say number three would be, being flexible and being open to change, being adaptable to um, newer styles of work, because you're working in a new team. There might be some certain um, regulations or certain ways that people know how to work, and I would just be flexible and being open to any sort of change that you you go through.
Yeah, Jay hit on most of the ideas that I was kind of thinking of, but just to expand on some of them in a bit of a different direction. For myself, you all I see in the chat are dropping your LinkedIn's. LinkedIn is a great place to get an idea of not just the people that are working at the organization, but where their experience lies. Something that was really pushed for me within my managers was making sure you book coffee chats. People love to talk about themselves. They love to talk about their experiences, just because like they want to share that information. And how interesting is that someone else that is interested in the things they're interested in, or maybe they have questions about the organization. People want to have chats about that. There's those opportunities don't come along all the time. Most of the times, more often than not, someone is more than willing to chat with you, whether you work for the organization or not. That was actually how I wanted to make my transition into the organization was, hey, let me reach out to some folks on LinkedIn, message them, just do a brief introduction of who I am, what I'm interested in, and whether or not just a little bit about their experience. If they want to spend 30 minutes, 15 minutes just to have a chat, people appreciate that because it's you seeing them past the title and seeing them as a person that has built experience. So I thoroughly agree with the networking piece, but that's definitely a way to leverage that platform if you don't already. So I thoroughly encourage you, if you do not already have a LinkedIn profile, please get on it. Additionally, remembering that you have a story to tell. Working in DEI, like for myself, you're always thinking about the next way to be able to tell the story to justify kind of the point of these experiences and what you're crafting in these programs, right? So the same thing goes for when you're entering an interview. Same thing goes for when you're joining a meeting, a call, something. There's a reason why you're being pulled here in these spaces, and it's okay to be authentic to that. This is a space I will say Experian wants you to show up as your full self and engage with that. Where can you pull skills based on your lived experience? So that's something I thoroughly encourage you all to do if that's not something you've already done. And I get it, networking's hard. It's a lot easier said than done. But please take the opportunity to do so because at the end of the day, these are people like you and we've got to start somewhere. And people want to share this information. So take advantage of it.
Great advice, both of you. Just for the sake of time, we are going to move forward for more general questions. Thank you so much, Jay and Jessica. That was so amazing to see just through your guys' eyes, the internship program and what you got out of it. So thanks so much. Here, just everybody, you can scan this QR code. It'll take you to our Way Up page. That's where all of our positions will be housed. As I mentioned before, we still are waiting for more positions that will be uploaded soon. But for now, this is where the roles are landed right now. So we can go on now to general questions. So I guess we can go ahead and start. Start with some questions. So so I guess maybe I can start with the application process. Someone just asked what we do typically. We review resumes. Most of the positions are open. We review resumes, and there's usually 1 or 2 interviews with a hiring manager, or secondly, maybe a team member. And then after that, we would be having selection and sending over an offer. Like I mentioned before, we are hoping to have these offers sent and finished by the end of December.
There's a question in here about are all of our internships remote? I would say a majority of our internships are remote. As a company, we are hybrid optional, which meaning the majority of our employees do work remotely. But if they're close to an Experian office, they're absolutely able to go in. So same thing with our interns. We don't very few of our roles require you to be in an office. But if you are close to one of our locations, you can also go in. But for the most part, they are remote.
And then we had another question here. Since some of the internships are open to bachelor's, master's, and PhD levels of education, are the programs individualized to meet each intern where they are and help them grow in specific areas of interest for their career? I would say yes, because we focus on making sure that you set your goals with your manager and talk about, what interests you and how you want to make the most out of your internship. And so, yeah, I definitely say you would have that opportunity to really set your interests and work towards that.
Thank you. Someone just asked, there's no internships for MBA first year students. That's not entirely true. If you are pursuing in education, so if you are either getting your bachelor's, your master's in any area, even a PhD, if you are a returning student going back to school in 2025, you are eligible for an internship. But we might not have an MBA specific intern role that you're looking for.
And then another one, what skills would be valued mostly in data and analytics? I'd say most of the skill sets that we typically see for data analytic roles are SQL, Python, Tableau, Power BI, and just a core focus with an analytical background. And so those are mainly the tech stacks that we see here with most of our teams.
Someone asked how many interview rounds there are. That varies. I say that there's probably no more than 2 rounds, to be honest. Some have 1. And then if there is an online assessment for culture match, not for culture match, but for some of our more technical roles, we do have assessments that are measuring your skill sets and different languages and things like that.
And then the next one, do you have any recommendations for individuals with non-technical STEM backgrounds trying to pivot into technology-based organizations? I would say networking with the right people. So looking to see, what technology-based organizations you're interested in, searching for the right people, networking with them to get their advice, seeing how they pivoted in their career journeys. Madison, Justin, is there anything you want to add? No?
A great question here about doing this rapid fire, guys. So thanks for putting these in. The question about how someone should stand out if they don't have a previous internship. I always tell students to make sure if you're trying to land your first internship, utilize your resume to highlight the classes that you've taken and how you utilize those classes in maybe project work or whatnot. So make sure that you're highlighting the classes and the languages and the things that you've done in a classroom setting onto your resume so that we can help kind of see would you be a fit for those kind of roles.
Someone asked about our company culture here at Experian. I say this to all the people I phone screen and speak with. Even though we're 100% remote, you feel very connected to your teammates and the business units that you work with, as well as just the overall organization. We have meetings. We also have different like social events that help you feel connected. We use Teams all day long. I've only met Caroline and Justin in person a couple times. I feel like they're some of my best friends. Like I don't feel any disconnect with that. You feel very connected. You're messaging each other all day on Microsoft Teams. You're video chatting. So although it is remote, you still will feel very connected. And it works for our organization. And yeah, it's really great.
I'd love to see if Jessica or Ja have any insight into that, having been with us a shorter period of time, and especially Jessica having just spent the summer with us. Can you talk a little about how you felt that culture?
Yeah, for sure. So for myself, kind of a similar sentiment as Radisson. While I didn't spend a whole lot of time with my team in person, the chances that I did get to spend in person with them just on a kind of like a career event, being able to take advantage of that, but also too like there is no disconnect. I didn't feel that anyway. The biggest thing with being online and just being in a remote setting is reminding yourself the self-care piece that is required when you're online all the time and working with the team all the time. Check in with people, especially like your team. Hey, how are you doing? How are things with what you're working on? Not even just project based, but getting to know each other as people definitely helps with that experience. So that way, when you do meet in person, or even if you don't, it doesn't change the relationship at all. But I didn't have too big of a barrier with that adjustment to being fully remote.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Jessica there. I remember we used to have within the team um, at least a session like a coffee chat, sharing our experiences, not from work because we didn't like to talk work during those coffee chats. We would just talk about how the last month was. There was this thing that my manager did where we would just share photos and we would talk about what we did in our personal lives, and it just helped us bond really well with the team and get to know them on a personal level. So that was really interesting, which was an initiative taken by my team as well. And among the interns, I also had bi-weekly chats with the similar interns who were in a similar space or a similar role like me, and it just helped me to first of all network with them, but also understand what other teams and what other departments are working on, and what are their lessons, or what are their projects that they're working on, which really broaden my view about what Experian works on in general, and not just the team that I was with.
I've seen a couple questions about specific positions. I've seen a couple about UX designer internships. I don't believe we do have them coming in, Justin.
We have any on our docket to come in, but we also get some late requests later in the year. So I would just encourage you, if you don't see something now, to visit regularly, because while we do target early fall, sometimes our businesses trickle in later than expected. So just keep an eye, and there might be something in the future if they request it.
And that's the same for just any specific positions that you guys are asking about. Like there's a cybersecurity question. There is a cybersecurity internship role that's open, but just keep an eye out on the on our site that you can see here with this URL.
And then there's a question about data analytics internships. How are the technical interview rounds conducted? That's going to vary depending on the role and the team, but usually there are 2 to 3 rounds. Technical rounds will test on SQL or Python for my data analytic role specifically. But once you go through the process, we will let you know more specifically like how you can prepare for the technical rounds.
There was a question regarding our approach to diversity and inclusion and how we implement that in the workplace. Jessica, would you mind kind of highlighting that as our our resident DEI expert.
Of course, of course. So DEI at Experian is not just from the DEI team, but from the top down, regardless of what your business unit is, regardless of what region you are in. Our priority is not only seeing our customers, our clients, and our products as diverse and thinking about not just physical diversity when we think of identity, but also too accessibility is a big focal point as well. Being in a digital space and also too in person, making sure access for all people of all identities, all abilities, and all languages as well can be included in the conversation, but also to feel like that they can be not only their full selves, but can do their work effectively without any barriers is our priority. So talking about DEI and what it looks like with the organization, it was shared earlier that we have 9 employee resource groups. So these ERGs, you can join as many as you like, but they have virtual webinars and other in-person opportunities if you're close to any of some of the major offices, but they do have some opportunities for people to be able to connect. It's a great place to be able to really leverage discussion, especially on some hot topics or the celebration of cultural events as well. So that's an opportunity. But DEI in this space, it kind of transcends across business units. It's not just housed in one place. Sometimes it's programs and initiatives with external partners and working with students. And then in other spaces, it may look like how are we making this space more accessible, and joining a committee that is working to make the digital space and the physical space more accessible, whether that be making sure that we have screen readers, thinking about access to languages on Teams. If you have any what are those called? Closed captioning, you can change the language of the closed captioning to be able to work with whoever we need to at that moment in time. So again, like I said, DEI transcends across the organization. It just looks different in how you want to be present in it. Again, we have, not only the ERGs, but we also prioritize training and education. So you have some DEI ambassadors as well as a badging program to be able to not only identify people that have taken this training, but also to be able to expand your knowledge. If you are selected to be able to participate as an intern, you will have access to our leadership exchange and the career hub to be able to build on those skills in terms of learning about DEI and how we put it into practice in the work that we do at Experian.
Thanks so much.
I think we have time for one last question, and I think there's a great one here about what do we like working, or what do we most enjoy working for Experian and what keeps us motivated? I think it'd be interesting if we could all kind of share our perspective on that, because we have probably all different perspectives. So if we could each just kind of round out this hour that we spent together with, what have you liked? What do you like most about working at Experian, and what keeps you motivated?
I can go ahead and start. I've been working at Experian for almost 3 years. It is by far the best company I've worked for. Experian really does value our employees, and they don't just say that. An example I would say is that each year there's a very robust survey that they conduct, and they really take to heart what the employees have to say. There's always action items on some maybe more areas of improvement. So when we say that Experian cares about its employees, that's very, very true. And when that happens, you attract really great people. And I love working with all the different teams. It's a great thing being in early careers. You're able to work across all the different business units. And I can say that every business unit, we have just great people everywhere. And I think that when you work with good people, that keeps you motivated. And I can't say enough how great this organization is.
And then I can go next. But just like Madison said, the people here have been what I enjoy the most about working at Experian. Everyone's just so approachable. Everyone is super easy to talk to. I've learned so much from people, not just within my team, but outside my team. Like Madison had mentioned, working in early careers, you get to work with so many different business units, and I've really gotten the chance to learn from people outside my team, my business unit. And so, yeah, I've got to learn a lot. I've gotten to grow a lot as well. There's a lot of opportunities for you to voice how you want to be developed. And leaders here really listen to that and really care about that. And so I feel like I've gotten to grow and learn a lot just by being at Experian.
I can go next. So apart from all the reasons we mentioned earlier about um, the teams giving us all the liberty and the ownership of the work that we do, and the impact that the products at Experian have in people's lives, I think the number one reason which stands out for me is the culture and the people that I've gotten to work with. Um, is just the nicest culture that I've been a part of. You know, Previously I've worked for different organizations as well. One anecdote that I would like to share is that during the internship and also currently in the rotation program that I'm a part of, we are assigned mentors, and these mentors can be directors or senior product managers in my case, and they really have a very busy schedule, but they are really enthusiastic about those sessions, and we have a session every 2 weeks, and they look forward to it, and they are looking forward to help you and guide you in your career, and share their experiences, share their failures as well, which is really super important to learn from others. um, so yeah, I think the culture and the people over here are what stand out for me in my experience.
For myself, in addition to kind of like community culture, and just like prioritizing the individual, I really love the benefits, not even just like them being inclusive, but thinking about more diverse types of opportunities for us to be in the work of the community. As I mentioned earlier, the volunteer time off, as somebody that does a lot of service, that was something that I enjoyed engaging in both within the cohort but individually as well. When I was with the cohort earlier this summer, we did, or at least some of us had did. I wonder what. Yes, it was greeting cards or seasonal greeting cards for seniors living in like assisted care facilities, and that was fun to be able to design and think about like what that experience, whether it's close to us or not close to us, you're able to create a greeting card for someone that lives who anywhere in the US. So for somebody that lives in Kentucky, being able to write a card to someone else that is in a facility that lives in California was super cool to be able to share that experience with them. But being able to engage in community and service that way, I had not previously had that as an intern with other organizations. So I just love being a part of Experian in that way because it's just very unique.
And I'll round out by seconding what everyone said, right? I think that they hit all of it. But for me personally, it's the work-life balance that we provide as a company. I'm a young family, and I love working remote. I can step away if I have to do something personal, and it's not looked at as being bad, right? We value that flexibility, and we really want you to bring your whole self to work, and so we know that you have to have happiness outside of the four walls of work. So we provide you that flexibility, and I am forever grateful for that. So um, with that, we got a few minutes left, but I just want to say thank you to our panelists for sharing your experiences as interns, and I hope you, all those on the call, that you kind of got a little flavor for what we offer here from an Experian internship and what's made us a top 100 program the last 2 years running. So with that, we encourage you to keep an eye on our way up page. If you don't see something there now, check back later. There might be something, a new role that's posted in the days to come. But again, thank you for joining us today. Hope you learned a lot, and we hope to see your application soon. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.